Pani Puri Inside a Spaceship. Author Vidya Pradhan. Illustrator Arpita Bhattacharya Ji. Published by Pratham Books. Dinner time, called Daddy. Chicky and Nino, who were playing outside, came running in. Daddy was already at the table. What are we having? Asked Nino. Mooli parathas, said Mummy. And raita. Chicky wrinkled her nose. Yeah, she said. Daddy frowned. Never say that about food, Chicky. It smells, said Chicky. Chicky, Chicky, don't be picky, chanted Nino as he gobbled up the paratha. He loved all kinds of food, but his sister was fussy. Chicky, don't you want to be an astronaut? Asked Mummy. Yes, agreed Chicky. Mummy was a scientist, and Daddy had been a fighter pilot. Chicky wanted to study science and then someday fly higher than Daddy. She wanted to be like the people who fly high into space and are called astronauts or star sailors. Well, said Mummy, I have an idea. If you eat your parathas today, I'll make astronaut food for you tomorrow. Okay, said Chicky happily and wolfed down her paratha. The next day, Chicky and Nino came back from school for lunch. They were eager to see what Mummy had made. I hope astronauts eat cake and ice cream, said Nino. And pizza and pani puri, piped Chicky. Instead, they saw a tube on their plates. Toothpaste, cried Nino. Is that what astronauts eat? Not toothpaste, Mummy smiled. I mashed up rice and dal and put it in the tube. You can squeeze it into your mouth. Why can't we have rice and dal on the plate instead? Asked Chicky. Daddy had some on his plate, and it suddenly looked delicious. Daddy pointed to his food. See how it stays on my plate? In space, it would float away. Chico and Nino imagined bits of rice floating in the air. Nom nom nom, said Nino as he pretended to catch the grains. Watch out, rice, I'm coming for you. It looks like fun, but it would take very long to finish eating. And tidbits could end up in the spaceship's engines and make a mess, said Daddy. But why does food float in space? Asked Chicky. It doesn't float down here. On Earth, we have a force called gravity. It keeps not just food, but all of us from floating into space, explained Daddy. That is why when we throw a ball up into the air, it falls back down. Mummy added, far, far away from Earth, there is almost no gravity. So astronauts and other things in space weigh next to nothing. They float. And food out there has to be easy to eat and not float away every time someone tries to have lunch, said Daddy. Chicky thought about that for a bit. If gravity pulls everything closer to the ground, then don't we also need it to make our food go from our mouths down to our stomachs? So, how do astronauts eat? Won't the food float back to their mouths when they try to swallow? Good question, said Daddy. When human beings started going into space, scientists wondered about that too. The first experiment they did was to have John Glenn, an astronaut, swallow some water. And could he? Asked Nino. Imagine not being able to drink water, he thought. Yes, said Daddy. It turns out that we can swallow because of the muscles in our food pipe between the mouth and the stomach, and not because of gravity. That is why we can even eat upside down, though the muscles have to work harder against the gravity. Chicky and Nino looked at each other. This was an experiment they had to try. Be careful, warned Daddy, who knew what they were planning. You should not eat or drink too much when you are upside down. Gravity is pretty strong force. Chicky looked at the tube on her plate. So this is what astronauts eat? She was disappointed. Mummy smiled. When they first started going to space, astronauts ate meat and fruit paste from tubes. This was not very tasty. So they complained like you, she said. So scientists tried to come up with options that looked and tasted more like regular food. Today, astronauts get canned food, nuts, granola bars, anything they can eat in a single bite without leaving pesky crumbs. Space shuttles also have small kitchens with ovens where the food can be reheated. So, Indian astronauts take fish and paneer curry and other tasty dishes. What about pizza and ice cream and soda? Asked Ninu. Scientists have been trying to send pizza to space for a long time. Making and baking dough in space is difficult, but a team of astronauts made pizza by using flatbread, sauce, and toppings. There are no freezers in space for ice cream, said Daddy. And the bubbles in soda behave in strange ways because of the lack of gravity, said Mummy. But astronauts eat lots of different foods, said Daddy. Even fruit like apples and bananas. And scientists are trying to figure out a way to grow vegetables in space. And now, said Mummy with a twinkle in her eyes, you have to try these gobi parathas. Oh no, said Chicky. But when I become an astronaut, I'm going to take Pani Puri along. Did you know? Cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin's first meal in space in 1961 was beef and liver paste. Then he had chocolate sauce. Astronauts in Russia are called cosmonauts, and Indian astronauts are called yomanauts. Astronauts live in space stations that orbit the Earth. A space station is about the size of three houses and has a kitchen, bathroom, study, and sleeping areas. Salt and pepper are used in liquid form in space. Astronauts attach containers to special trays using Velcro. They also fasten their trays to their laps so they can eat while sitting down. Astronauts drink from pouches with special nozzles. If they used cups, their coffee, tea, or juice would become a ball and float around the cabin. Since we don't make a lot of saliva in space, food tastes bland. That is why astronauts love spicy food. Astronauts choose what they eat. Food packages are labeled so they do not get mixed up. Hey, this video was made just for you. If you've liked it, do give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber yet, please subscribe to my channel. If you have a question, I'll be happy to answer it. You can also leave a comment and question down below. Thank you. Bye bye.